Hi everyone, welcome to the Icehouse podcast. I am Bryar, Stewart, the community manager at the Icehouse, and today we have Eamon King with us, who is the customer growth partner for the South Island and has been in his role and his position as customer growth partner for about a year now, which is awesome. So I thought it was about time he jumped on the podcast and we had a good conversation to him about how he's found the last year and what the future looks like. So welcome Eamon.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Nice.
I'm surprised I've been given the go ahead to get on a podcast.
Yeah, it took you a year, but but we were like, no, after a year, he's got the all clear to be on the podcast. So
year of probation, yeah.
Exactly. But no, I like to start these sort of interviews or chats one-on-one with some quick fire questions. And the first question is always, what is your coffee order?
Depends. If I'm making it myself, I'm quite lazy, so I just have it black. But yeah, at a cafe, it'd just be a flat white, plain old boring.
It's good. It's good coffee. It's a good coffee order. Okay, what is a book you recommend people should read this summer?
I'm not too sure. I've been getting actually quite into podcasts lately, so a good podcast I'd recommend is Stuff the British Style, which is really sort of interesting stories, episodic stories on, I guess, colonialism and artifacts that got taken from around the world, which is really interesting, and a few from New Zealand. So yeah, it's a good one.
Wow, that answer has really shook me. That surprised me actually. I was
Why? I'm a learned person.
I like it. It's intelligent. It's good. I like that.
Why is intelligence so surprising from me?
No, I'm just joking. You're a very onto it person. We're really trying to sell you, Eamon, so I'll get behind that. What is your favorite place in the world?
I've got a few. In New Zealand, I really like the Marlborough Sounds, especially in summer, over Christmas, over New Year's. It's great. Very, amazing scenery, usually amazing weather, but also very little cell phone coverage. So it sort of makes you switch off, which is, amazing time and time again. I'm also a really big skier and snowboarder. So my favorite sort of mountain range would be the Dolomites in northern Italy. Just amazing. So I guess those are my two favorite places. Yeah,
cool. Those are awesome answers. I like that. When you're not working, what do you like to do in your spare time?
Well, I've got a young family, so that takes up quite a bit of time. I've got a large dog, so that takes up a lot of time as well. I'm kind of one of those jack of all trades, master of none, where I've just got far too many hobbies. So at any one time, it could be anything. At the moment, there's a lot of woodworking going on and a bit of renovations for the house, bit of DIY. So as I said, I don't have a huge amount of spare time, but that'll probably be what I'm doing.
Yeah, lots on the go. That's cool. I popped this next question in there because I'm genuinely really interested. What is your middle name?
Any guesses?
James.
No.
Okay.
It is Allen, Allen. And I think I'm the fourth or fifth generation Allen in the family. So it's always the firstborn male.
Yeah.
So my son also has Allen as
nice. Keep the tradition going.
Yeah. So it's quite cool. Goes back quite a wee way. So maybe late 1800s.
Yeah, good on you. That's awesome. That's significant.
Yeah.
And the last quick fire question is, what was your first ever job?
First ever job, I worked for a stonemason. And I think I was 14 or 15 in the school holidays. I must have been 15 because I just got my license. So that was hard, monotonous, physical work.
Taught you a lot.
Taught me I didn't want to be a stonemason.
Great response. Oh, so good. Nice. Well, it leads nicely into the next question, which is, walk us through your career to date, and then, what you did before working at the Icehouse.
Sure. So after school, I actually took a few years before I went to uni because I wasn't 100% sure what I wanted to do.
Nice.
I think at the time I'd been accepted into architecture in Wellington, but I kind of got cold feet on that and thought I probably don't actually want to be an architect. I worked for a company in Timaru, where I'm from, called Andar, and they were a large general engineering fabrication company. I was a draftsman for them and sort of general labourer as well, as probably the youngest and lowest paid person on the staff, general dog's body. But no, that was great. So I did that for 2 years. It was a bit of a hard time in the industry with the GFC. And we went through a couple of rounds of redundancy. So I thought probably actually a good time to go and get an education, or, university education. So I took the big trip to Christchurch and went to University of Canterbury, did a science degree in psychology. Coming out of that, I kind of did sort of joined the psychology and the engineering background, and went into the recruitment industry for a number of years. I think five or so years. So that was, that was good. There were ups and downs. Great bunch of people. It taught me a lot around, it's one of those industries where you basically just given a desk, given a phone, and away you go. So you do have to be quite self-motivated and self-starter, all those sort of cliches, but it's one of those kind of sink or swim type industries. And after being made redundant, I think it was 2015 or 2016, I sort of took a bit of a pause and was like, I'm not really sure what my next step is, what I wanted to do. As I sort of mentioned before, I'd been doing a bit of woodwork and things since I was young with my dad, and at that time we'd just come through like a house fire. So we had no furniture. Just moved back into the house. And I was like, well, I'll just make some furniture because, a lot of the stuff that were in our sort of budget, I wasn't entirely happy with, and I couldn't find what I wanted. So I sort of thought, I'll do this while I'm looking for a job. And then, one thing led to another. And, 5 years later, I was still making furniture.
Wow, that's amazing.
So that was leading up until the start of 2021, I think, end of 2020. So it was great. It was an amazing journey. There was lots of lessons, lots of highs and lows, working for yourself and starting a company, especially when I didn't actually sort of set out to start a company. It just sort of snowballed year after year. But it taught me a lot about business, and even since starting with the Icehouse, having the time to reflect and sort of see like critical moments of where simple things I probably could have done would have changed things, but it's been it was a great time.
It was good. Learned a lot, and cool season of your life, and amazing how that journey actually started. To be honest, I didn't realize that it started from a real genuine need. So it
was kind of funny. Like there was a few, if you looked at my sort of journey with owning a business, it's really bookended by sort of two things. One was the sort of being made redundant, and then not having any furniture in the house. And I was like, well, I've got time, and I might as well make some furniture. And that was a sort of good way to start. And then sort of at the end, obviously there's the pandemic, and things were just going crazy with orders, and I just couldn't keep up, didn't have the model. And then my son was born, and he was a couple of months early, so he was in hospital, and I was already doing the sort of 70, 80 hour week type scenario that we hear about all too often with the Icehouse. And I thought, this isn't really fair on a newborn and a young family, that sort of thing. So again, I was like, this seems like a good bookend to that sort of business journey.
Oh wow, that's so interesting. So how did you hear then about the Icehouse and what made you go, cool, this is a role I want to take after this season?
I think I saw it advertised. I had been sort of on and off looking for a little bit, but I was sort of picky and wanted if I was going to step out of one thing, I wanted it to be the right thing I was going to step into.
Yeah.
And I'd seen Icehouse around. I was vaguely familiar with it. So yeah, that was, I think, what I really liked about the opportunity, what I really liked about the Icehouse was that looking back over what I'd done and the sort of ups and downs and the mistakes, or the lessons learned from those mistakes, and all those lonely times and the fear and the anxiety and everything that comes with owning a business and not knowing whether you're on the right track, and you're seeing all these other people doing things and you're like, well, how come I can't do that? And knowing that there was an organization out there that sole purpose was just to help people in my situation, I was like, well, this is kind of where I need to be. And if looking back over sort of my career, and it sort of a little bit all over the place, but I could kind of tie all of that and bring all of that experience into this role, which sort of almost seemed a little bit too good to be true at the time.
It aligned so well.
Yeah,
that's amazing. I like that. And yeah, really cool that you sort of lean on the fact that, man, this is something that maybe you would have loved as a business owner. And
absolutely. Yeah.
And now you, in your role, you can help other business owners that you know exactly how they feel, so you can relate to them very good.
Yeah, I mean, different scales, but I think probably pretty similar pain and pretty similar issues and things that you have to go through, and little barriers that you have to keep pushing through, in order to get through, to get on. But
totally, yeah. So, customer growth partner. You work directly with the business owners and leaders that you meet and help them get onto programs. That the Icehouse do, and one-to-one coaching opportunities.
Yeah.
What does a day in the life of a customer growth partner look like?
Well, probably starts, very similar to most office jobs: in, coffee, check the emails, essentially. I don't think that's going to be a surprise to anyone. So yeah, it's basically, the first sort of hour is admin, checking the emails, checking the database, the system, just to make sure where everything is. And then throughout the day, I'll probably spend quite a bit of time talking with people, trying to, hear their journey and hear where they're at and how the Icehouse can help. Trying to, stay connected with the alumni and existing customers and clients. And then also there'll be, meetings with prospective customers as well. So it's very much a people-centric role, which I like. So yeah, and also just sort of connecting the dots between, people and services, essentially.
Yeah, no, it's great. That's a really good rundown. I like that you even gave us the detail of coffee in the morning, nails, what it looks like. I love that.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, it's got to start with coffee. I don't have coffee at home because I generally don't have time, because I do the kindy run in the morning as well. It's just survival until I get to the office, essentially.
Yeah, and then you can take a breath. That's good.
Yeah.
I got this weird fascination with people's routines though, people's morning routines. I'm always really interested. So that was interesting. Any awesome, favorite part of the role, and what is a challenging part of what you do as well? So high, low.
favorite part is definitely almost like living vicariously through the businesses that we help, and whether they're big or small, just celebrating their successes. It's something I'm really passionate about. And because you get to know the owners and you get to know the businesses well, and their struggles and their ups and downs, and I think there's a sort of thing where you're looking at from the outside in. If you're just standing on the street looking at the building, it can look flash, can look amazing. You think these guys are really, doing well, and then inside and internally, there's a lot of struggle to sort of get to that point. So knowing the struggle and then seeing people succeed is just a massive high for me. And having been in that situation where, you're just desperate for help and just desperate for someone to talk to who's in the same situation as yourself. So I think being able to be a part of that is amazing. If there's a low, it's probably knowing that somebody needs this help, but they're just not quite there yet in their own decision making. So they're desperate for it, it will work for them, but for whatever reason they don't get on board, and that that would be the only low, but it's not even that much of a low because I'm pretty persistent.
They'll come around.
They'll come around.
Yeah, but in the moment you're just like, oh, come on, this is
beneficial
to you, and I'm sure that would be a little hard. Leads in nicely to the next question. Being in the role for a year now, what has been your biggest learning so far?
Biggest learning, there's been lots of little, I'm not going to say there's like a really massive learning moment. I mean, there's lots to learn, and looking after the South Island, there's obviously lots of people to meet, lots of connections, lots of networks, everything that sort of. But one of the biggest takeaways that was like aha moment for me was on the business side of things, and that's the importance of just asking your customers what their opinion is on something, and that's something that just never occurred to me when I was running a business. And if anything, it would have terrified me to go out and actually ask my customers their thoughts. But I made so many decisions looking back based on what I wanted in a product and what I sort of valued and all these things. And I was making these decisions that, really impacted on my day and how stressed I was and the product and everything like that. But I never actually knew if the customer saw that or if they valued it or anything like that. And it was just such a simple thing to go out to a customer because, looking back, I was not the average profile of my customers. There wasn't like 100 and something Eamons just buying these products, but I was sort of really passionate about them, and I was putting all the stuff and features that I wanted to see in them. But I just never ever knew. I mean, they might have liked it, but I think there's probably a good chance that some of the stuff they just looked right over, and so I think that's one of the small little takeaways that, like an aha moment for me, like why didn't I do that, was just speaking with your customers and asking whether that they valued it.
Yeah, because in the moment it can be so confronting, right? I can imagine it would be like, oh, I don't really want to hear your feedback. That would take long term.
Plus you've put everything into this. It's very personal. It's a little bit of yourself going out into the world, and so the fear is that there's going to be negative feedback and people don't like it and don't value it, and you get a little bit crushed. But I think probably 9 out of 10 people will potentially like it, and if they don't, it gives you opportunity to change or to pivot, or to improve on it. So I think the customer feedback is just a really simple little thing. It can be challenging to implement, but a simple little step that I wish I'd done. So it's not a big light bulb moment. It's probably a small light bulb moment, but still
it's so important. And I think so many people are fearful of doing that. So it's a really good point, actually. That's awesome. I'm enjoying this convo. This is really awesome.
Is that the second time already you've been surprised?
I wasn't surprised by that, but I just in the moment being like, this is really cool, and I hope our listeners are enjoying it too. Awesome. What is your favorite thing about being based in the South Island, and where can people find you in the South Island?
So based in Christchurch, I work out of an amazing co-working space called the Saltworks, where I'm in at the moment.
Very cool.
It's fantastic. Great bunch of people, great ownership, and I love having worked for myself by myself for last 4 or 5 years, sort of coming into a vibrant space. And just the energy and the people, and hearing what other people do and their startups or the companies that they work remotely for, like me, it's amazing. I love I mean, growing up in a small town, I'm not a big city kind of person at all. Christchurch is like the perfect sort of size for me. It's almost like just a big town. I live 8 minutes from work.
Perfect.
So it's great, and it's flat. There's no hills like Auckland, which is just a pain in my bum.
So true though, eh? Oh, let's go for lunch. Oh, we're just gonna
Yeah.
tell this.
Yeah,
this
exactly.
street.
So it's nice and flat. And plus, I mean, obviously there's a lot of stuff that's happened in Christchurch in the last 10 years, but the city itself is becoming, more and more vibrant and more creative. And there's, great spots around the CBD. And, again, working for myself for the last few years, I didn't really get into town that often. And I was kind of in the habit, if anyone lived in Christchurch around the time of the earthquakes, there was the red zone in the city centre. It was a bit of like a donut. You couldn't go into the middle, so you just got used to going around it. And so getting back into the city, I know it's sort of 10 years later, but getting back into the city and seeing all these sort of projects and buildings and stuff coming up, it's a really cool space to be.
It's very, very cool. Yeah, I loved it when I went down this
Yeah.
year. That indoor food market,
The Riverside. Yeah, I knew you'd be a fan.
Yeah, it's me to a T. It's
Yeah.
so nice. Cool. Okay, this question's an interesting one. Being based in the South Island, what are some key differences that you find in business and the owners in the South versus North Island?
I'm not sure if I can really speak to like the North Island businesses because
true.
Yeah, I don't really get too much interaction with them, I'm always cautious about generalizing a whole sort of group or population of people. But the one thing that I always found, and especially in the smaller towns and things, it's access to services. So I think having me in the South Island and traveling around when I do, and going to the Blenheim to Timaru to Invercargill to Dunedin, and being based in Christchurch and over to Nelson, it's being able to provide access to those people and companies in those regions, the services of the Icehouse, because frankly, there are just amazing companies that will pop up in these places and that have popped up in these places, and they need as much access, and they sort of deserve as much access as if you're in Auckland.
Yeah, so important. Yeah, I also think for smaller towns, community, they're quite close-knit communities, which is really cool. Everyone knows everyone. People are happy to do business together, to chat, to catch up, to support each other, which not to say that doesn't happen in Auckland, because it does, but I think there's something special about the South Island sort of communities as well. Cool. What are some of the common challenges that you see owner managers facing at the moment?
Well, at the moment, I mean, there's there's the obvious that's going around at the moment, with the pandemic and the uncertainty. I think some of the follow-on from that is supply chain issues, is having a massive effect on some companies, especially manufacturing or product supply companies. Also, labor shortages is a huge issue as well, trying to find talented staff. And I think I saw a stat from about halfway through this year, before even this current lockdown, and it was around the average number of skilled visas that we give out as a country per annum is around 30 to 40,000. And I think over the last 12 months to that date, so 2020 to 2021, there was something like 1,300. So there's a shortfall of 29 or 39,000 or something like that. And I think that's now being reflected in the talent pool is just a little a lot smaller than it used to be, because we as a small island nation, we're just not getting those skilled people in.
Yeah, so true. Yeah, every conversation I've been having lately is just people and supply chain is just the major thing. Definitely common challenges at the moment. But it's amazing to see how resilient business owners are, like it blows my mind. It's been a crazy, nearly 2 years, I guess. And just keep getting back up, keep rising above it, and see lots of challenges turning into opportunities. So just awesome people behind.
And that's the network side of things that that you get with something like the Icehouse, because if you're trying to do that by yourself, you just I can't quite picture it. I can't imagine it, because it would just be so hard. But having a organization that you can reach out to, or the your cohorts or other people in the community where you are that have been with the Icehouse, just having those those ears that can listen to what's going on, and knowing there are other people out there that are going through the same thing that you are.
Yeah, exactly. Do you think, because this leads quite nicely to the next question, do you think that would have been the biggest value for you if you'd done something for the Icehouse? Obviously the insight and learning on program, but that connection from what you know of the programs, and what do you think the biggest value would have been for you as a business owner?
I think there would have been a massive amount of value. There was, when I look back on my time, there was another guy who I knew, and he lived just around the corner, and we walked our dogs at the same park, and he was in a similar industry to me, and we would meet up semi-regularly just to sort of talk and discuss things. And that was so important. He probably doesn't even realize how important it was to me. Having an even wider network of owners from different industries would definitely be valuable. But I think also the confidence of, as I was saying before, looking at other businesses and the owners, and they might have just gotten you flash you, and you're like, how are they doing that? What am I doing wrong? So having people who know business look over what you're doing and then say, no, you're on the right track, just giving you that confidence, or you need to make these adjustments, and then you'll get there. And just having that sort of support of someone who's been there and knows what to do. But then the capability stuff as well, the financials, the sort of dark arts of budgeting and forecasting and profit and loss sheets, that sort of thing would have been amazing. And looking back at some of the things that I wish I'd done differently was definitely business model. Again, just the real basics, just the simple thing of having a business model that would have coped with the sort of growth that I was going through when my existing one couldn't do it. And when you're a small business owner, I think the perception is that you're nimble and you're agile and you can pivot easily. But for me, because I was working so much in the business, to use another cliche, I just didn't have time. I felt like I was trying to do a U-turn in a cruise ship. I just to try and adjust, it was really difficult. And sort of pregnancy and pre-pandemic, I'd spent like the last 6 months sort of trying to transition to a new business model, but I was just constantly behind the 8 ball. So all of those things would have been absolutely valuable.
Wow. To me. Oh, that's so. Thanks for being vulnerable and saying that, because I think lots of people would just be like, would probably struggle with those things, but don't really know how to communicate it. So I think you communicated that really well. Nice, Eamon. What excites you about 2022 and the further lean into the South Island business owners and leaders?
I think building on this year, essentially. So deepening some of those relationships in regions outside of Christchurch, and supporting those businesses that I live vicariously through, seeing their achievements. And I think that's what I'm really looking forward to, is just continuing and just trying to go from strength to strength, and just represent the South Island as best we can, and get those businesses out there. And
so good. You're a natural at podcasting. This is good to know, guys. You might have a new host in 2022.
Oh no, I don't know if could get a bit loose and hectic.
I quite like that. That's awesome. No, that's great. I think it's so important, deepening those relationships. We've obviously got events that are launching next year, which yay, COVID, play ball, please. But we'll be, having people come together, and it's really cool. So looking forward to a good year of sort of celebrating and just having some fun. I think everyone needs it. So that's cool. So how can South Island based owners and leaders get in touch with you if they just want to have a chat about the Icehouse?
Well, you're welcome to come into the Saltworks in Christchurch and catch up with me. Otherwise, probably through the website is easiest. I think my lovely mugshot's on there somewhere.
Yep, it's true.
Yeah.
Nice. We'll also
You
go.
No, you go.
Nice. We'll also make sure that we, maybe pop your email or something in the copy of.
Is there going to be like a little bubble if I go like this? Will you guys like?
Oh, I don't know if we're that high tech yet, but we can talk to the team. So
click this link here.
It's going to be awkward when we don't actually add a link.
Hey, I lasted like 25 minutes without, totally embarrassing myself. So.
Oh, so cool. Nice. Well, honestly, great natural conversation. I hope those listening have gotten to know Eamon, and I'm going to throw him a fun question to finish. I don't know how he has been put on the spot. So far, so good. What is an interesting fact that not many people know about you?
Oh. Well, if I say it, then won't lots of people know about it?
Go viral.
I play quite a few musical instruments. I've learned the violin from when I was 5 through till 16 or 17. I'm not sure if I could still play it now.
Wow.
But then also the piano and the violin and violin, piano, guitar, bass. So yeah. That
is significant. That's a lot of instruments.
Well, they're all kind of related. Like once you know the guitar, you can play the bass and the ukulele and banjo and stuff. But
talented, eh?
Yeah, I probably actually shouldn't claim I can play a lot of them anymore because it's been a while. And as I said, I don't have a lot of free time. So the opportunity to practice, is few and far between, but they're all there sitting in the house.
Sounds good. And hey, you're about to have a great summer holiday. So
exactly.
Maybe we can loop that.
I'll just chuck the piano in the back of the car and take it with me.
Exactly. Yeah. Keep practicing. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Eamon, for your time and conversation. I hope those listening have, felt like they've gotten to know you a bit more and know that there is an Icehouse customer growth partner in the South Island who is awesome, as you can tell from this conversation, and is keen to chat to you about how we can help. So appreciate it.
No, thanks for your time.